Hey everyone. So, in times where everyone is building their own coding agents, their own personal assistants, their own agent orchestrators, Tmax setups, dev setups, I thought it's also a good time for me to take a spin on this. And what I wanted to do is to combine what I have been doing for my home labbing for already a couple of years now. And what I have been doing with coding agents is to basically take my Proxmox setup or my interest in Proxmox as a virtual environment hypervisor and build on top an agent orchestrator that can directly interact with the Proxmox host itself and can spin up VMs, can SSH to the VMs, can work with the VMs, and make this really kind of a sandbox environment where I can develop, where I can spin up agents and grow this over time. It should be really hackable for me to exactly fit it to my needs and not need to rely on some external GUI. And I think this is really the perfect time as I can just tinker around with this. So Proxmox, as I said, is a hypervisor. You can spin up VMs, you can spin up LXCs, you can have all the things with firewalling, etc., etc. And here is really just a very simplistic Proxmox host that I have, which runs this Proxbot, which I will show in a second. And it also has a template. The template is just a VM that can be cloned. And it is a Ubuntu server, which just has my basic configs on it. And Proxmox is a web application that is also perfectly accessible from mobile. It runs this main agent, which in my case is a Claude code instance, but you can also run Codex, you can run Pi, you can run whatever you like. It runs in a Tmax session. And this Proxbot host or this Proxbot VM can interact with Proxmox itself via the API, and it can also interact with all the sandboxes VMs. This is just the very, very first prototype I have. But in the end, my idea of a typical workflow is that I can spin up a new sandbox. A new sandbox will clone this template that I have. It will create a completely isolated sandbox VM. And in this sandbox VM, we have some basic things set up. It will spin up a Tmax session. It will spin up Claude in my case, and you can directly work on this sandbox. You can now see it is already spin up. It got a new Tmax session with Claude, and here I can, for example, say, build me. Oops, I clicked. Build me a simple website with hello world. Start it on host and port 3000. Yeah, it will directly work in this sandbox. It creates a simple HTML, in this case, a JavaScript, and it will start running this hopefully in a second. And you can see here on the left-hand side, I can see all what is happening on the sandbox. I actually even have a hook for HTTP, so I can see even here updates. In future, I want to also send these updates from the Cloud session somewhere else potentially. And it is starting now, and here it will also automatically detect this. And you can see I can directly even access the front end. So the idea is really that you can also, similar to work trees, you just clone a new VM, you get access to a project, you tinker around, or the agent tinkers around, and you can directly see what is happening. I can also, the idea is also for this to obviously work with Git repos. So for example, I can take Karpathy's recent auto research repo. I can create directly a session for it. What it will do is, again, the same thing. It will spin up a sandbox. It will clone the repo. And it also has some ways of automatically starting the backend and the front end. If that is the case for this public repo, now this will not work because there is no front end in that sense. But it will do the same like we saw for the sandbox, but in this case, it will just clone the repo. It will directly go into the repo, and you can see on the bottom, I have my Tmax session. I can, everything is checked out. I can say here, hey, what is this repo about, right? And directly hack away with it. And in long term, of course, the idea is also for this general agent orchestrator to be able to orchestrate coding tasks across the VMs. This will already work to some degree. And you can also have all the Git access here. So it will also automatically create a new branch for each VM, each checkout. And you can work similar as a work tree, I would say, but everything is completely isolated. It's a separate VM sandbox, and you can hack away with it. So yeah, curious what others see, if some have tried different things, maybe even with Proxmox, but I think the setup will be really interesting for me to grow and also play around with new technologies. Yeah, maybe there will be new things to share and discuss about this in the future.